Kia ora, and welcome to the Beer Jerk Beer of the Week Drink Along. I'm Luke, and today we're drinking Sloth. Sloth's a beer from Badass Beverages, who haven't released many beers. They only kicked off a couple of years ago, and this is the 7th beer that they've released. What I love about Badass is that they are pretty much focused on doing quite traditional German-inspired beers. I'm a huge fan of German-inspired beers. So they've done a really nice Schwarzbier. They did a lager that we had as Beer of the Week last year. Their wheat beer was delicious. But yeah, this week we've got a Kölsch style ale, which is actually, the word Kölsch is a regionally protected name, like Champagne or Stilton. But that's only in the European Union, so we can do what we want here in New Zealand. But respectfully, the German brewer at Badass is still calling it a Kölsch style ale, because according to the Kölsch Konvention, Kölsch can only be made within the city limits of metropolitan Cologne. So there's a whole bunch of stipulations about the degrees Plato and things that mean that your beer can be called a Kölsch. And it's a beer that the people of Cologne are very, very proud of. And in competition with Altbier that's drunk in Dusseldorf, just down the Rhine. And it's pretty amazing to go to Cologne and drink Kölsch. It's the, well, drink it like this. Kölsch is pretty much all you're going to find in Cologne. And you've got these, there's about 6 or 7 breweries, and they've all got these amazing historical brewery tap rooms that you can visit when you're in Cologne. I was there in August last year, and it was God, it was like a pilgrimage for me just to walk into this incredible historic brewery. And there's actually not a bar in a lot of these breweries. You just sort of walk in, and there's all these wooden tables and chairs, and very just old-fashioned German-looking place. And you find a table and sit down, and a Körber comes over, who's a Kölsch waiter, and says, "Zwei Kölsch?" And you say, "Yeah," and then he immediately comes around and brings you some. Because why do you need a bar when everyone's drinking the same thing? I guess maybe you might be able to buy wine or fizzy water, but pretty much everyone there is drinking Kölsch. And they're drinking out of these really cool little glasses called Stange, which just means pipe in German. So it's a 200 millimeter small straight-sided glass that looks like a little pipe. And your glass is never empty. It's just constantly getting replaced. And it will continue to be replaced until you tell them to stop by putting a bar mat over the top of your glass. But if you don't put a bar mat over your glass, whenever you've got a little bit of beer left in your glass, the Körber just comes around with his array, his rosette of glasses, and just puts another one down. Then he writes a little mark on your beer mat, and at the end of the session, when you do tell them to stop, he just counts off how many little glasses of Kölsch you've had and charges you. Not very much money, because another wonderful thing about Germany is that they hardly tax their alcohol, and just the brewers have got big scales, so booze in Germany is also very, very cheap. You might be wondering why I'm sitting here in Auckland rather than in Germany, but there's a lot of good things about living in New Zealand as well. I don't, yeah, maybe retirement plans and moving to Cologne. Anyway, Kölsch is an ale, it is not a lager. And it was created to compete with all those Helles, lagers, pilsners, things like that were getting really popular. But it's got a point of difference whereby it's got a lager type body to it. You can just see the beautiful clarity and lightness of this. It's real straw colour to it. But it's made with a top fermenting ale yeast and fermented at a warmer temperature to lagers. So it's got your it's got the drinkability, it's got the lightness of body, beautiful crispness that you would expect in a lager or a pilsner, which is somewhat hoppier. But also you've got some nice malt sort of body to it, a bit of backbone. You've got a like cracker type character to it, like a Jacob's cracker. A little bit of hoppiness. This is probably slightly on the hoppier side compared to the one you get in Cologne. And a lovely dry finish, but also a really nice thing about Kölsch is the slight fruitiness that you get, which comes from the Kölsch yeast, that gives you just a bit more of an interesting character. And yeah, I think they've done a fantastic thing with the creation of Kölsch, which is it's a sessionable beer that you can just drink so much of. but it's not a beer that's, you know, it's not bland, it's not watery, it's got character to it, but not so much character that it might become a bit overwhelming. And yeah, it is such a core part of the identity in Cologne, and just every part of Germany you have your different regional beers, and it's the same in Belgium, it's the same in parts of Britain. And I was chatting to a young couple outside probably the third or fourth brewery I visited on my little trip, and the girl was from Cologne, and the boyfriend was from Kreuznach, just down the river, and he was saying that in Kreuznach you could drink a few different kinds of beer. You could drink a Hefeweizen, you could drink a Schwarzbier, you could drink a Kölsch. And then his girlfriend interrupted him and she said, "Yeah, that is because you have no culture." And I kind of love that. I respect that. Just the idea that your culture is just so imbued, and you're proud of this one beer that you drink from your town. But I'm also pretty glad that I'm allowed to drink other kinds of beer, because I enjoy drinking lots of different kinds of beer, which is why I started Beer Jerk. We're 8 years in now and we've never repeated the same beer. So I hope you enjoyed this week's Kölsch. Good work, badass. Keep it up with the fantastic German style beers. And it's almost Valentine's Day. So talking of romance, we put together this pretty good box. So we pulled together a box of beers and chocolates. So you can just buy it for yourself. You don't need to be buying it for someone romantically. We put together a whole bunch of interesting gastronomically inspired beers, and we paired them with a whole bunch of really cool chocolates that we've got from our mates at Ocho. So if you like chocolate, or you know somebody in your life that likes chocolate and likes beers, that might enjoy a bit of a pairing menu, then head to beerjet.co.nz and grab the Ocho and Beerjet box. It's full of some seriously tasty beers, seriously tasty chocolates, and it's only $89. So get involved. Thank you for joining us. Cheers everybody, cheers to Badass. I'll see you next time.